Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Mayor Patemi. I got no Nolan Jambor with me today. Jeremy Lapidus is still on vacation. He'll be right back here on Monday. So be sure to check back in to the Triple Threat Show on Monday afternoon so we can get all the gang back together. All three of us, the whole group will be ready to go and locked in, not only recapping the NFL of what's going on in week 2 of the NFL preseason, but for the long haul because the NFL is right around the corner and it's time to get ready for everything because it's getting real out there. But for this episode, we're gonna keep things pretty niche. Especially you guys have seen me the last week or so. I post a lot about the UFC. And did you guys know? You guys must have missed it. There's a big, big card this weekend. There is an absolute massive card, massive main event, co-main event across the board. This is one of the most stacked cards of the year, no doubt about it. And honestly, the next few months are really loaded. If you guys haven't seen my previous video, go back to the last UFC video. We previewed the next upcoming couple months cards. Just talking about what's coming next and how good these cards are really looking to be because trust me, they're looking absolutely phenomenal. I don't want to start with the main event for this one, just because I kind of want to save the best for last. You guys that already know what's coming, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'll be giving my prediction of not only who's going to be winning, but how it's going to be happening. You'll see that in a little bit here. But let's go down the main card here. We'll keep the prelims to themselves, but we got Tim Elliott for the first fight of the main card. We got Tim Elliott going up against Kai Asakura. Kai Asakura, obviously a young up-and-coming fighter, just joined the UFC, has only had one fight so far in the UFC. Kai Asakura only has one fight in the UFC, has only had one fight in the UFC outside, or this is his second fight. His previous fight was against Alexandra Pantoja. Obviously, we know that name, one of the greatest flyweights to ever do it, arguably in the GOAT conversation, probably the solidified GOAT and Demetrius Johnson. Outside of him, we would say Alexander Pantoja is a close number two for sure. And he's the only guy that Asakura's lost to. Obviously, it was a round two submission, and it was an absolute decisive one. But this is a guy in Pantoja that's done this time and time again, just stepping into the octagon, and taking care of business. An absolute monster in the flyweight division. So we're gonna give Asakura a little bit of a pass here. 21-5, just transferred over from the PFL, is now fighting Tim Elliott. 21-5 Kai Asakura going up against 21-13 Tim Elliott. Kind of similar in age. Tim Elliott's a little bit older, on the older side at 38 years old. Asakura at 31, but similar weights, of course, same flyweight division, similar reach, a little 3-inch difference 3-inch advantage to Asakura. But nonetheless, this is going to be an unbelievable fight. I'm giving the edge to Asakura to avenge himself. Of course, we know the red hot Tim Elliott is coming back for some vengeance. He hasn't fought since 2023 now, but does have some sustainable wins over Muhammad Makayev, and just a really had also beat Tagir Ulanbekov. If you guys don't know who that is Khabib Nurmagomedov's prodigy, one of his students that he trains, the legendary Khabib Nurmagomedov. If you guys don't know who I'm talking about, just go over to google.com, look up Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Conor McGregor, or just honestly look up Khabib and look at how unbelievable he is. An absolute legend of the sport and arguably one of the greatest to ever step foot in the octagon. Won almost 30 fights in a row, undefeated. Just an unbelievable one of the goats, no doubt about it. But this is going to be a great test, I think, for Asakura. Hasn't really going up against a guy like Tim Elliott, has a lot to prove, hasn't fought in a while. Could be a little bit of rust to your side in Tim Elliott, but I'm rolling with Asakura to get the finish. The younger, hungrier guy in the division, and would put Asakura right back into the top 5 of the flyweight for sure. But let's move from there into the next fights for the rest of the night, because this is a massive card. That was the worst of them. Buckle up, because this is a crazy card. From there, you have Michael Venom Page, the 38-year-old Michael Venom Page. You guys know who that is. MVP, one of the best. He used to be in the UFC, moved over to the PFL, and just moved back to the UFC about a year ago now. is going up against the always big time and hard hitting Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier, obviously, his last fight against Gregory Rodriguez has been very recently. I apologize for that, by the way, but very recently going up against Gregory Rodriguez in February. Now turns around and fights Michael Venom Page. Cannonier, the biggest thing we're looking at Cannonier in terms of issue, if there's any issue to have with him, is his age. He's 41 years old. So these are two guys that are on the older side. 38-year-old MVP, 41-year-old Cannonier. MVP, I'm looking to really bolster his height on top of Cannonier. I mean, he's 5 inches taller than Cannonier. 6'2" Page going up against 5'9" Cannonier. I expect Page to take full advantage of that in this fight. Shocking how honestly slim Page is for the weight that he has at middleweight. You would think he'd be higher up in the light heavyweight category, but no. It's MVP, big time fighter, always exciting, always hard hitting, great at submissions, great at knockouts, and I'm rolling with MVP to get the win on this one as well. Not just because of age, but because of how good he is. Just got the win against Shar Magomedov in early February as well, and I'm looking for him to put Cannonier's lights out. And maybe, possibly, we might see Cannonier's retirement after this fight. From there, we have a couple other fights. We have, if I can pull it up. From there, we have Goff Neal. I could be botching that. Joff or Jeff or Goff Neal. It could be Jeff. If I'm wrong, please don't crucify me in the comments. Just let me know if I'm wrong, please. But Joff Neal going up against Carlos Prates. We all know Carlos Prates, one of the up and coming middleweights or welterweights, 21-7, an unbelievable fighter, unbelievable reach, over a 3-inch advantage for Prates over Neal. I'm looking at Prates to get the win in this one. I mean, he's a hungry guy. He's borderline in the top 8 right now of the division. I'm looking at him to make a push to go up. I mean, I'm not saying he's championship material yet, but if he can get this win over Neal, especially a guy in Neal who's these two guys are very close, probably 8 and 9 in the UFC rankings. I expect this to be a really fun fight to see. A lot of people are saying that Joff Neal's power is getting really underestimated before this fight, that he might knock out Prates. But of course, Prates is always the submission artist that he is. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background that he has is always so dangerous. I mean, as much as I want to say Joff Neal's power is going to help him in this one, I'm rolling with Prates to get the win in the submission category. I'm looking at Prates to get, almost had a hiccup, get either a late third round submission or win by decision, one of the two. I wouldn't bet on this fight if you guys are looking at it. I really would not bet on this fight. This is kind of 50-50 coin toss for me. It's going to be really exciting, going to be really hard hitting. I expect Prates to try and dominate the ground. But if it's standing up, if it's just fist versus fist, just stand up. I'm expecting Joff Neal to put Prates' lights out. Prates will be looking out for it and will be ready for it. But it's going to be a very exciting fight, no doubt about it. From there, the co-main event of UFC 319, we have Aaron Pico taking on the undefeated Leron Murphy. Leron Murphy, I'm so ready for this fight. This is going to be such a good one. This is Murphy's really first big test in the featherweight division. One of these two guys are going to be in the conversation to challenge Alexander Volkanovski after this one. I mean, the last time we saw Murphy fight, he went up against Josh Emmett. If you guys don't know who Josh Emmett is, one of the hardest hitting guys in the UFC. Not only just featherweights, and I mean, featherweights don't usually hit too hard. They're usually more grappling artists. But Josh Emmett is an absolute monster on the inside. And Murphy wasn't able to put his lights out, but was able to stay away from him for the most part, or stay away from that knockout zone and win by decision. This is a guy, Murphy, that's won a lot of fights by decision, I'd say. I mean, his last 3 wins, at least 3, 4, 5. I'm just going through it. Last 5, 6 out of the last 7 fights have been won by decision. I don't know if that's going to be the same situation in this one. I mean, Aaron Pico is an absolute marksman on the ground. He's a phenomenal fighter. I mean, he hasn't really. This is a new guy just joining the UFC as well. Um, but he's a big time mixed martial artist, just 28 years of age. Was supposed to fight Movsar Evilov a couple months ago. That fight got canceled, and he's turned right around and is looking to take out that zero next to Leon Murphy's record over there. I'm I want to roll with Aaron Pico in this one. I know how good Murphy is, how sustainable he is. He's a well-rounded fighter. He's really good at striking, really good at grappling, really good at fighting really smart. And the best way, I mean, I don't want to compare him. He's not as good as him. But in terms of fighting smart, in terms of using his IQ to his advantage and fighting in and out, trying to stay in and out of that zone, being very surprising in that octagon, he fights very similarly to Alexander Volkanovski. Obviously, Volkanovski ground and pound is unmatched. Ground and pound, takedown, defense, grappling, submission artist, all of that is true. But his ability to pick and pop, come in and then float back out like he's floating on clouds. He's Volk is very good at that. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the Diego Lopez fight. Either of them. Watch his fight against Islam Makhachev a couple of years ago. The first one, not the second one. Don't watch the second one. Watch the first one. And you guys all know what I mean. He fights very similarly to Alexander Volkanovski, I'd say. But I'm rolling with Aaron Pico to get this one. I really think he's hungry. He's ready to get his first real fight in the UFC. And I think it's going to be a debut win for Pico. Young, up-and-coming fighter, 28 years old. And this would put him definitely probably behind Movsar Evilov. We'll see what Dana White ends up doing, especially with how Evilov has been pulling out of fights recently. But whoever wins this fight could be in the conversation for the next contender against Alexander Volkanovski. No doubt about it. But last, but certainly not least, the main event. The fight, honestly, I've been waiting probably 2 years for it, but it's probably since we saw young Khamzat Chimaev go up against Kamaru Usman, and the way he was able to fight against Kamaru Usman was an absolute clinic for any young aspiring fighter coming into the UFC. It's Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat, however you pronounce it. Khamzat Chimaev going up against one of the greatest, probably if he gets this win, one of the greatest middleweights in the UFC history, in Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis is an absolute monster in this division. He's had 3 title defenses. He took the belt from Sean Strickland, beat Israel Adesanya, defended it in the rematch against Sean Strickland in decisive fashion, and now he gets Khamzat Chimaev. I mean, this is a storybook fight. This is the top guys. You fight Strickland, who beat Izzy, then you beat Izzy, and now you're fighting the next top guy. Then really, realistically, the next top guy in Khamzat Chimaev. I think Khamzat is an absolute monster in the ring. His ability, his ground game is unmatched. His burst, his ability to just attack you and put you down in the first 10 seconds and take control is unmatched. I expect Dricus to run around that octagon for the first 30 seconds, 45 seconds, as long as he can, to escape, to just dodge, duck and weave as best he can, fake out. We'll probably see a lot of that. Khamzat is going to go straight for it. This is his first title opportunity, the first time he's ever fought for the title. I think he's hungry. This is a guy that's really, really hungry for this moment. And I mean, as good as Dricus is, if it's stand up, I mean, the only way that Dricus, I think, wins is if it goes past round 3. If you can push that endurance tank that Khamzat has. Of course I'm worried. Of course anybody that's a fan of Khamzat is worried. Why? Because we haven't seen him fight past the 3rd round in his whole career. The only time we've seen him get to the 3rd round was once against Kamaru Usman, which he got tired in, and once against Gilbert Burns, which a lot of people will agree, which even myself, I'll agree, that Gilbert Burns had a really strong case that he won that fight against Khamzat. It's just the truth. As good as Khamzat is, Gilbert Burns, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up, please. It is one of the best fights I've ever seen. Probably one of those fights that got me into the UFC when I was first watching it. But it was an absolute brawl. A guy in Hamza who just goes out there and wrestles you went up fist to fist with one of the greatest strikers in the division at the time. So, I mean, if he can do the same, if I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, I think Dricus's wrestling is gonna be tested in this one, no doubt about it. But I think Hamzat has it. I'm rolling. I really think so. I put Hamzat at that higher regard. When I saw his ability to not only, if you guys didn't see his last fight against Robert Whitaker, he literally broke Whitaker's jaw. And if you guys don't know who Robert Whitaker is, he's one of the toughest fighters in the world. He's Australian. And we know how Aussies are when they join the UFC. They're tough as nails. They don't tap. They don't go down easy. They sit there and they slug it out until the end. They're ride or die guys. And Robert Whitaker is one of the greatest. Is up there with one of the greatest middleweights I'd say of all time as well. Before Israel Adesanya had sniffed the belt, it was Robert Whitaker's division to have, and he controlled it. He broke that man's jaw. He broke his jaw. He caved his teeth in with his forearm. You know how crazy that is? If Hamza was able to do that to Whitaker, Duplessis is in a world of trouble. I want to say Duplessis because I bet against him his last 3 fights. I bet on Israel Adesanya. I bet on Strickland. I'm betting on Hamza. I probably won't bet, but if I was betting, I'm probably putting my money on Hamza. On a first-round submission as well. Call me crazy. But I think Hamza gets it done in round 1. I don't think Dricus is ready. I know Dricus says he's ready. I know he's put on a show in the press conferences so far. And he's tried to get in Hamzat's head. I really think Hamzat is in Dricus's head, if I'm being honest. The way that that last face-off transpired earlier tonight, we'll see one more before. Actually, will we see? No, we won't see another. The last face-off before fight night, Dricus was in Hamzat's head. It wasn't even a face-off. It was just Dricus shirt off, going straight at Hamzat, and then Dana White just got in the middle of all of it. Of course, as you'd expect. But nonetheless, I'm saying Hamzat by first round submission. That's that. I have nothing else to say. I want to say that Dricus has a chance, and I think he still does. But he's going to need to survive. He's going to need to pull out all the stops. His defense is going to have to be on point. I think Dricus needs to fight a more perfect fight than Khamzat Chimaev. And I think Vegas is all over it. I think Vegas knows. That's why Khamzat is the betting favorite, and that's why Dricus is the underdog. A lot of people are saying Dricus is underrated. Dricus hasn't fought a guy like this. Strickland is a up and tight, under a castle kind of guy in terms of fighting style. Israel Adesanya, you didn't really test him too much, and when he did get tested against Izzy put him down on the ground. And that was Adesanya. That was what, 36-year-old Adesanya. Dricus is in a world of trouble. And do not be surprised if we see a first round submission. I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll probably be streaming. I won't stream the fight, but I might stream my reaction to these fights. If you guys want to see any of that, be sure to follow my TikTok at Boston Sports Takes. I could stream it here. We'll see how it all transpires, but be on the lookout for that because I'll probably do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I appreciate you guys always, and I'll probably have some more segments on what's going on around the other worlds of sports. Probably tomorrow, or definitely tomorrow. Till then, I hope you guys have a great rest of your nights. Bye-bye.